Welcome to the Lace 'em Up Podcast. I am your host, Davidito, and we back like we never left. And since you back, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Today's guest is coming from the UK. We're going to talk about his experience in film school, what drives him as far as customizing and art, what are some of the favorite songs, and how do you incorporate music into what you're doing when you're creating content. Let's get into it. Claude, welcome to the Lace 'em Up Podcast.
Listen, it takes wisdom to grab these sneakers and spin them. Cut a couple of linen and match them up with the denim call. Davidito, he'll cook it up like a kilo and have your Air Ones appropriate with the stilo. He's no Lilo, but he's mean with the stitch.
Claude, welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate you for having me, bro.
Yes, sir. So let's jump straight in. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from.
So I'm 24. I'm based out of the UK. Grew up in Manchester, but I'm a creative. How would I describe myself? I did media at university, so I have a media degree. But I like to just work in any type of format, like photography, videography, graphic design, fashion, anything creative. I'm with it. So yeah, that's me. My main thing, obviously, is like sneakers and shoes, but I like to work with whatever I can.
Okay. So what got you into wanting to be creative and then, doing shoe customs? That's what some of the work that I've seen so far.
So creatively, it started with my parents. They are both the musicians, have been like their whole life. Dad's been in like a few bands. My older brother been in a few bands. He's now a musician, recording artist and stuff. So I've had that sort of propelling me and pushing me my entire life. Music, I play a few instruments, but it was never really my channel. Still mess with it here and there, still listen to a lot of it, but I think having such a creative background and like all the family and friends and stuff, being from Manchester, it's such a creative place. There's so many cultures and um, different types of people, So with that being around me when I was younger, it's like you couldn't escape it. So that was definitely something that like pushed me into this lane. But in terms of the sneakers specifically, I remember it being COVID, and I was on eBay or something, and I saw like this real tight pair of custom Air Forces, but they were charging like £400. I think that's like maybe $600 or something. And I just wasn't trying to pay all that, so I said, you know what, let me just buy some paint. I'll do it myself. I have a pair of Crispers right here, so I got into it, and then dead ass, I was addicted from then. It's literally like it's so therapeutic. I can really like lock in and just focus on that one thing for however many hours it takes, and I don't even feel the time go by. So yeah, that's how I got into it. That's where the creativity comes from. Every day, I'll always big up my parents and my family for that.
Nice. So I'm curious. You spoke about a couple of different things. Well, one, music. But I'll kind of circle back to that here in a little bit. But you start talking about what some people may say being into your flow state or being engaged, right?
hmm
What happens for you in that space when you're doing art or working on shoes? Like what happens? Where do you go? Um,
Um, so I think as a media graduate and as like a videographer or like a graphic designer or um, anything like that, the process of like locking in, as it were, really starts before you actually start the project. So I like to do all my pre-production stuff, like getting on my shot list, making sure my equipment's right and functioning and stuff like that. So from that moment when I'm preparing to press record, I'm like I'm really dialed in. So nothing. I'm trying to, obviously, like anyone would, I'm trying to eliminate like anything that could go possibly wrong. Um, but then when it's actually like painting the shoes, I think it's the combination of listening to whatever music I want. Like I'll just put my AirPods in or my headphones on, and I'll just be listening to whatever. Like there's so many offcuts or cutouts in videos where it's literally just me vibing. Like I put the paintbrush down, I'm literally just like bopping. Um, so I'm literally like you say, I'm in flow state. It's just I don't really think about what I'm doing. I just know what I want the end goal to be. So like I'll usually mock up on Photoshop what I want the shoes to look like at the end, and when I know that's what I'm working towards, it's like, all right, like, I'm just gonna do what I need to do to get there. So um yeah, but like I said, it's just from the moment I'm like typing up the shot list or anything like that, um I just get super into it, like super ingrained, proper deep diving into it, just so that because I you'll appreciate that as a content creator as well. Like if you enjoy what you do and you appreciate the art form, you it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like it doesn't take effort to do that. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's how I would say that's how I would describe me locking in. It's just like from the pre-production right the way through to like stopping the recording. It's just anything that happens, and I don't get mad at it. I just go with it.
Yeah. So speak to, because one of the things that I'm hearing as you're talking, right, is the importance of tools and having a plan, right? So what one walk us through kind of like what your plan looks like when you're getting ready to set something up, but two, how important are the tools that you're using when you're creating?
Okay. So being a media graduate, one of the biggest things they teach you, like literally the first lecture I walked into, was pre-production. So you type out your shot list, you have your storyboard, whether it's like using words or a little pencil drawing, or you want to like take photos or anything like that. Um, so I have a rough guide of what each scene or like chapter or shot looks like, and even if I only look at it once before hitting record, I then have a visual idea or like a mental idea of how things should be looking on camera. Um, so that's my biggest thing. Just as long as I know a rough structure before I go into it, and I have something I can like loosely work in accordance with, I'm straight. Like nothing really can go too wrong, and anything that does go wrong, I can work with it. But as far as equipment goes, like I use these two phones. I use this phone and I use this phone. So anytime I'm talking to people or in a similar space, they're always like, oh, I need to save up for this like expensive camera or this microphone or this that. I'm like, you could do that if you want to. Yeah, it'll make your content better in a way, or not even better, but it might make you feel more professional. But really and truly, it's not going to make that much of a difference because ultimately, if you can make a great piece of content or a great video with your phone, that proves that your equipment isn't holding you back. Like, throughout my entire university degree, I tried to avoid using the expensive cameras. Like, it's a whole institution, so we have access to industry grade equipment. But me being a content creator, I wanted to try and prove that it doesn't take the expensive stuff to make good content. It's more about like you as a person, you as a creative. So I always think about how Cole Bennett from Lyrical Lemonade, he made a bunch of music videos using an iPhone, and that was the key marketing ploy. Was it was shot on an iPhone. Yeah, he then spends hours in the editing suite, or he'll have like a bunch of people doing sound design. But ultimately, what you're seeing was shot using an iPhone. It might be the latest one, might be like a few years old, but you can really create great content and great output with something that everyone has on them now. In 2025, everyone's got a camera phone, so there's no reason to not just start shooting now.
Yeah. With listening to you, you're like jogging my memory from stuff that I've done in the past, like working on like a music video and basically
Mm-hmm.
having a storyboard and having like we're gonna do this scene and it's gonna lead into X, Y, and Z, and you know what I'm saying. But one thing that I would love to hear your voice or thought on would be how can you transfer or elevate, say something that you've captured by sound, right? By adding a certain sound or music or whatever. Could you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I might go like a little bit off course here, but I promise you, I'm gonna try to like bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
So at the beginning, when I said my older brother's a musician, right? He every now and again he'll send me like some unreleased stuff, and he might just say like, "Can I get your opinion on this? Is there anything you think is missing?" Because we both have a pretty similar ear, but I'm sure you'll appreciate you as the creator or something. You might be seeing things differently to somebody else who's just the audience. Like they'll be looking at things in a completely or through a completely different lens. No pun intended. Um, so whenever I'm like, whenever I'm creating something, I try and look at it as an audience member first, and then this is how it works for me. And then I look at it as like a content creator. So when I'm setting up the camera angle or the lighting, I think of it as like, would that look good on camera, or does it just look good now how I'm sat here? Like I could be lighting the shoes so that I have the best view whilst I'm painting, um, but it might not look good whilst I'm watching the video. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
in terms of sound, I try and add like little, how would you say, like sound effects, like with the transitions. If I'm using a lens flare, it looks good, but you really need to try and elevate things by using small sound effects. I think um, a lot of people with whip transitions where it like whips into the next thing, all it takes is like a little whoosh noise, like
Mm-hmm.
whether it's low pitched or high pitched or like super slow, super fast. I don't know. Um, it really does make the difference because it immerses you in the video a little bit more, because it treats the audience member, the way I see it, as if they are watching it through the camera lens, so they're hearing the the noise as it goes by. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I try to attack these things, but also staying grounded. That's another one. Just knowing mistakes are going to happen. I might forget to record a sound effect, or I might forget to include one when I press upload. That stuff's going to happen because I haven't been in. I'm no expert. I don't believe anyone's an expert, but some people are going to be better than others. So always welcoming feedback and um, criticism and or anything like that. Just welcome it with open arms and be open to it, because ultimately it's a learning process. You constantly learn how to improve and how to um, tweak your craft, as it were. So I only recently learned about using sound to elevate the videos, and I personally think I've been using it okay. I could definitely be doing a better job, but that's just something I need to implement in the next video. So
Yeah, I always feel like there's ways to grow
mhm,
in what you're doing, and there's I always fight with this balance of how much of a consumer I am versus how
mhm,
much of a producer I am, right? Like how much content and stuff I'm putting out versus how much I'm taking in. But I find myself strategically finding certain things to take in to improve my output, right?
mhm,
And sometimes it doesn't happen immediate. It's not an immediate transfer. I have to like chew on it and figure out how do I incorporate it in what I do, and
yeah,
then take it from there. So I was just curious to hear your standpoint on that, especially since you're getting your degree or have gotten your degree in media,
mhm,
which is dope and exciting, too. Just to
thank
say,
you.
so you talked about listening to music as you're doing work, right? What type of music are you listening to like put you in that space to where you're like, okay, I can just zone out and get into this?
Mm, it really depends on my mood on the day because if I feel like I'm about to crash out, I'll find something to paint. If I'm in like a really good mood, the sun's shining, like the weather's nice, I'll be like, all right, yeah, I'm in a good mood. I'll go paint some shoes. So I don't have a specific playlist or anything. It's literally just a case of like, what do I feel like listening to in that moment? So the only consistent thing I can think of is when I'm in the pre-production phase, like I'm doing the paperwork or storyboarding or anything like that. I want to keep it instrumental because that really allows me to like focus on what needs to be focused on. Um, so that could be anything from like classical to jazz, blues, anything like that. Um, but then once I hit record and I'm painting the shoes, it's just wherever my mind takes me. I might start off with like some lo-fi, some 90s hip hop, or even like I don't know, like 60s jazz or something. Like I've listened to James Brown a lot, um, but then also there's certain times where it's just like the vibe of the day. It's you kind of have to just roll with what the day is giving you. So if like I said, the sun is shining and you can smell the food cooking in the kitchen next door, I'm gonna try and match the vibe of that because I don't want to like I want to keep my head in tune with like what's going on around me. As much as I'm locked in on the shoes, I don't want to be like ignorant to everything else. Because if I start listening to like I don't know, Playboy Carti or something, like, yeah, I'll be vibing hard. I'll be like fully bopping along. But if I start going crazy in that room and people in the kitchen next to me trying to cook up, they're like, well, would you shut up really quick? Like, I know you're enjoying yourself, but like, we gotta live our life. We all share the same house, so um, yeah, I don't know. There's never any consistency. It's genuinely just a case of what do I feel like listening to in that moment. I'll give myself whiplash in terms of going from one vibe to the next. I might start off with classical, go straight into some like drill, or and then right after I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, let me listen to this like Pink Panther or something. It's like it makes no sense, but I'm enjoying myself. So,
Okay. Yeah. What made you want to study media?
ooh, that's a good one. In school, I was graphic design was my big passion. But funnily enough, I was never really too interested in university. It actually it started because I saw this thing where you could go work out in LA for 3 months, and then in your fourth month you get to travel around the states. Um, so I was just going to use that fourth month to visit my family because I have family over there. Um, and to join this course or like this program, you had to be a student. So I spoke to my tutor. I said, I know I want to do this. I just don't know what course I want to do to make me a student. These are the three I'm happy with. You just pick one for me. And she picked media because she was like, well, throughout the entire time I was at college or high school, as you guys would call it, she noticed I was really creative. I was always like doing graphic design or like cutting up clips or like doing slideshows and stuff like that. So she just said, do media because it's a pretty big umbrella in terms of everything. Like I said, photography, graphics, moving images or videography, stuff like that. We did some sound design and some music stuff too. Um, and it's welcomed a lot now, given the state of the world that we're in and how everyone consumes things through a visual medium or through a screen. It's going to be helpful, you know, if whether I continue with YouTube or I want to go into a more traditional career path. It allows me to do that. I have the skills to go either way. So um, yeah, it was never really planned. It was more just I presented it to my tutor, and she told me that university was the best way, and this is the best course for me. So I just followed it, and I don't regret it a single bit.
Interesting. What would you say is something that you're excited about that you're working on right now?
So I I only did my first pair of basketball shoes recently. That was the last video I put out, and since then, I've only managed to wear that pair of Kobe's once in a game. It was actually on the weekend. But a teammate said to me he was really rocking with the shoes. He wanted me to do a pair for him. So he had ordered some a few weeks back, and I'm just about to start working on those tomorrow. I think now that I'm more comfortable or confident in customizing shoes that aren't just Air Forces or aren't just like leather, um, I'm really excited to like look at other shoe styles because as a fellow creator, you'll recognize you can't keep beating the dead horse. If I keep titling a video customizing Air Forces, painting Air Forces, it's people are going to stop tuning in. So I have to continuously improve and change up the formula and give something new for people to watch and to keep myself entertained. Because after a while it will get boring for me to keep painting the same white Air Forces. So that's one thing, and then also having now given shoes to I think it's three bigger creatives and like more recognized creators in the scene. I'm excited for that opportunity as well because it's definitely opened some doors, and I'm keen to see what other doors get opened in the future. I don't know what could happen, so it's just I'm the if I had to summarize it, it's the unknown. I don't know what's going to happen, but I welcome it with open arms.
Good answer. Good answer. What would you say is your favorite silhouette when it comes to a shoe to work on?
To work on,
Yeah.
Eesh, man. You know what? As much as I only painted two of these shoes, I'll probably say a Jordan 1 because there's so many different ways you can do it. I mean, like, if I had the money, I would love to do a pair of off-white Jordan 1s. I have like four different ideas in my head already. Um, it's just that there's so many different variations. There's the lows, the mids. No one really talks about the mids, the highs. Then you have the different materials they use, whether it's leather or like suede and stuff. Um, yeah, there's so many different silhouettes, and this because there's so many panels and like so much stitching on it. The number of different color combinations you could use is almost infinite from where I'm sat. So, yeah, it's just Air Forces are cheaper. So,
I understand most people who answer that question say Air Force Ones,
mm-hmm.
but mine is also a Jordan 1.
Yeah. See,
Especially
you know.
yeah, if I could get a high, then that's ideal. I'm working on some lows right now for a customer, but
Oh
um,
yeah.
I would definitely prefer a high because it just have
Mm-hmm.
more space to work with on
This
like
is
the
the thing
side
because
panels and stuff.
Nike only sell the triple white and the triple blacks in mids, right? So
Yeah.
that's what. Yeah, if I want to do a high for someone, I can't unless they want to spend like £200 and then whatever I decide to charge on top. But that's half the reason I don't do for other people. It's always just me because I don't want to have to think about how much to charge people.
Yeah. That was going to be one of my questions because you were saying that you have somebody that you're doing these for. Are you
Mm-hmm.
doing them for free, pro bono, or what does that
Yeah,
look like?
it's pro bono at the moment. Like, so I did a pair for my cousin. I did the two or three for some other creators because I had met them and they were like, "Oh, I'd love to get a pair of shoes." So I was like, "Yeah, sure, I can't turn that down." I gave away a pair, um, just to like boost engagement and stuff, which really helped. And then this time, a teammate was just like, "Yo, I really like your shoes. I'd love for you to." He offered me money, and I was like, "I don't know what to charge because the whole reason I started, I fully get that some people are more creative than others. I'm so respectful of that. But the reason I started is because I don't want to pay the £400 or £500 bill attached to to shoes that were already expensive. So um, I don't want to put people in that position. I'd rather, if I have the time, or for example, in my where I'm sat, I still work part time, so I'm still trying to fund all of these videos. It takes money to buy a new pair of shoes to paint every time. The paint,
Mm.
the brushes, it all costs money. So um, if I need a video and I can't afford to buy the pair of shoes at the time, hell yeah, I'll say I'll paint somebody's shoes. I don't care. Like it's fun for me, and they get something dope out of it. So that's enough for me. As long as they're happy with the outcome, I can care about money. Sorry.
Very good. So, what would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned so far in this process of customizing shoes?
Um, Patience. Patience is definitely one. Um, and then not being overly critical. I think I used to have a habit of looking at things too close and trying to like break it down until I just made myself unhappy with stuff. But then realizing that you've spent money on the shoes, and half the time when you paint the shoes, it's like irreversible damage because no matter how much acetone you use, again, you'll understand it's never going to go back to how it was before you started painting, right? So you have to just you have to reach a point where you can just accept things as they are. It's not going to be perfect, but if you're happy with it being like better than okay, then that's fine. And that ties in with the patience because I have to be patient with myself and with the process. It takes a while, and I can't allow myself to get too worked up to the point that I don't want to do it anymore. So, but I think that's something that a lot of sneaker artists will relate to or understand or even echo. Like they might say the same stuff. But yeah, like I say, I'm sure you understand just what I'm saying because it is such a time consuming process. You really do have to just be patient with it, regardless of how much time or how much you enjoy it. Sorry, it's it's taking time out of your day, and it's taking a lot of time out of your day. So yeah, you just have to be patient with yourself and try not to be too critical. Those are the two biggest lessons I've learned so far.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I always say is creating this problem solving. So prime example today, I was working on, like I said, I was working on a pair of Jordan 1 lows, and I was put the stencil down. The stencil was annoying me. My airbrush was clogged up, didn't want to work. So I'm like, I'm going to do it by hand. So then I start
Mm-hmm.
painting. I do it by hand, and I start removing the stencil off, but it started pulling up the paint and the stencil was all messed up. So I was like, ah. So I basically just took some acetone to it, wiped it all down, and then put this bottom coat back on. And I was like, all right, we got to start back over, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you got to work through all those different things. One guy that I watch, he used to go by woke, but he changed it. He always says that there's no mistakes; it's just more content. I was like, well,
Yep.
I didn't record me clean fixing it, but so, but
But you know, for next
yeah,
time, right?
yeah, for sure, for sure. So, but it's those things happen when you're doing this type of stuff, or when you're creating. Period, like
Mm-hmm.
things come up and you got to figure out how to solve it and how to work through it. And the person on the back end, the consumer, only gets to experience, oh yeah, this is awesome and dope. They don't know
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah,
everything that went into it. So yeah, I
exactly.
definitely hear you on that one. Definitely kind of living in some of that moment today for sure.
Yep.
What would be one tip that you would give to somebody who's just starting, who says, "Hey, I think that's dope. I want to get into it." What would be one tip that you would give them?
Is that just starting sneaker customizing, or is like just starting content sneakers?
Both, both.
Both.
Yeah,
Um, just start, I guess it's my answer would actually be pretty similar for both. If you're just looking to start painting or customizing sneakers, just get the cheapest stuff possible. Like everyone recommends the same like paint products to use, whether it's like Angelus or Alpha Flex or Jacquard airbrush paints. I think
mm-hmm.
don't really like. I personally wouldn't worry about that. I was doing pretty well at the time with my money, so I could afford to like import the Angelus paints before they started selling it over here. But just get like a real cheap set of paintbrushes for like £2, £3, $2, $3, whatever. Get some cheap like child or acrylic paints, and just get an understanding for like the process itself. There's no point buying all the equipment and then right after you figure or you learn about yourself that like actually this isn't what I want to do. There's nothing worse than putting all that money and time into it and then coming out the other end realizing actually this is not really for me. Because what can you do then? Like I said earlier, it costs money. You have to buy the shoes, the paints, and everything. So, and also off the back of that, just start on a pair of sneakers that you already have. Don't go out and buy new shoes. Just any old beat up, dusty ass, crusted shoes. Clean them off a little bit. Get some soap and water. Get a brush. I know your parents have one somewhere under the sink. Just clean them up as best as possible and get to work. And then if it's starting making content and like actually recording yourself making videos and stuff, it would be the same. Just use what you have at the moment. Don't look to buy any new equipment. Don't look to be spending money on like editing software because there's so much free stuff out there. um like I said, there's literally no point in spending the money if there's the possibility that after you've done it you don't want to do it anymore. So do it as cheap as possible until you are prepared to spend a little bit more money and then spend the money when you're comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, definitely agree. I've done a bunch of that
Mm-hmm.
throughout my journey for
Yep.
sure. Even the editing software I use is still the free version. I'm not
Yep.
paying ever for it.
No,
But
exactly.
yeah, there's no point. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. This episode is sponsored by Davidito Designs. I am Davidito, and Davidito Designs is my website. You can go there and order a custom pair of shoes if you have an idea, theme, something you want to incorporate on a shoe, be it your business, gift for a friend, wife, husband, children, you name it. Go there, fill out the description, get in contact with me. We'll collaborate back and forth and make whatever vision you have come to life. You can also purchase merchandise from my website. Check out some of the latest stickers. Check out this podcast and also check out my YouTube page. Once again, that's Davidito Designs. DAVIDEDO Designs.com. Go there, purchase some merchandise, or let's make that custom shoe design idea come to life. I want to talk a little bit more about the music piece, right? Because I think there's something interesting there, but I
Mm-hmm.
also want to just kind of get your take, right? Like on music and genres and that kind of thing. So, but I'm gonna start from this spot. Give me your top five artists,
All
musical
time.
artists, top five musical artists of all time.
Um, Daft. So actually, I was thinking about this yesterday. That's kind of funny. Daft Punk. This is in no particular order, by the way. This is just like so. Daft Punk definitely up there. MJ has to be. Um, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Yay! It's controversial at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
I know, but like
Mm-hmm.
in terms of what he did for music and what he continues to do for music to this day, he's up there for sure. Then I think Kendrick. Not taking
Okay.
any side on the beef. It's just I think again similar to Ye, like in terms of he just drew from everybody and like he's a lot of people are drawing from him now. So and then number five, I would say, ooh, that's tough. Um, it's between James Brown and Ray Charles. Oh no, what am I talking about? Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Give me Stevie
Okay.
all day, all day.
Okay. Okay. I
What
like
about
it.
you?
I like it. That's always a cheat or a hard one for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I typically would say, and well, I will expand it more than just rappers because I typically would answer top five. So I would say Michael Jackson has to be one of them for sure, um, hands down, um, in that space. Um, I'm a big fan of Chris Brown uh,
Okay.
as well. Um, from a hip hop space, it'll have to be somebody like Andre 3000.
3K is a
Uh,
good pull.
yeah, it's I don't know. It's just like on a totally different planet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, so I really, really, really like his stuff. Um, let's see, two more. I'm an R&B person at
Okay.
heart, so like I would have to say like a Jagged Edge as a group or something like
Oh
that.
right. Okay.
Um, and then let's get one more in there. Hmm, dang, that's tough.
Hmm.
So there's a bunch that come to mind from a hip hop perspective. So um, I'll just keep it true to me and where I'm from. I'll say Scarface. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
I'll say
right. Yeah.
Scarface. That'll
It's
give you
tough
fun.
doing it like all time, like just best musicians.
Hmm.
I anytime me and my homies we talk about this, I'm always the one that's like, all right, we could do best rappers, best like singers, best this, that. Like I try and make it more specific to make it a little bit easier because we've had so many greats in this lifetime and in past lives as well. Um, it's so difficult to like pick a top five, but that's a solid top five you just
Yeah.
gave. Scarface, I wasn't expecting, but I really respect that.
The so still in music, right? You are given one album to be able to listen to for the rest of your life. One album. What is that
Mhm.
one album and why?
See, because I could really just pull like an album from any of these top five and be happy with it. Um, it has to be one album.
One album.
Yo, okay. I think I'm gonna say To Pimp a Butterfly because
Mhm.
I'm
Okay.
gonna try and like stretch this to other people now. There's so many samples in it, so you can get the appreciation of other genres, other cultures. There is obviously it's a concept album, so there's like poetry involved. Um, it's got like real lyricism in it. Not to say that other artists don't, obviously, but so
Some of them
it's got
don't.
some,
That's fine.
yeah, yeah. But that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you kept it real. I was trying to like, but so yeah, it's like you could. There's some tracks in there that you really have to think about, and then there's the jazzy influences. There's some like real pop records that you could like that you'll hear in the club or something. Um, but I think that's probably a good one that draws from everything and from other genres, and it really is just it does a good job of like embodying the topic whilst respecting other art forms because the music videos go crazy. But just from an audio perspective, I think it does a good job. It's pretty well rounded. Other than that, I would say Daft Punk, but yeah, I'd definitely say To Pimp a Butterfly.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Hmm. Interesting. For sure on that one. But I like
What would you
the
say?
explanation too. I would have to probably do like a Michael Jackson Thriller
That's
album or
what I was
something like
thinking.
that. Like
Hmm.
that would be. There's so many classic hits on there. There's some I could just put on repeat and just play all day. So that'd be
Yeah.
fine. I could just vibe out there and just be good. Um, and no worries ever on that one. So
Hmm.
for sure. So jumping back to shoes really quickly.
Hmm.
How many have you made so far?
Um. So I want to say maybe like 30 pairs,
Oh,
25, 30
perfect,
pairs. Hmm.
perfect, perfect. So one of my favorite questions to ask, and this one's probably going to be difficult. Give me your top five custom shoes that you've made.
See, I could really cheat a little bit here because I know I haven't put that many videos out. There's only been 3 out of the 30, I think. I think only 50% of them made them online. Some of them were gifts for friends that I never even thought to film or anything. Um, but my favorites, I would have to go with the Kobe's I just did. Damn, I left them in my bedroom. I'm in my office right now. But yeah, I'll say the Kobe nines, the Black Panther ones. Um, I did a pair of donut Air Forces. They were mismatched. I really rock with those. Um, a pair that didn't make it online. I did some Black History Month Jordans, Jordan 1 mids. They were inspired by, in Black Panther, where, like, in Shuri's lab, she has all the paintings on the wall and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was inspired by that. So that's what, 4? Is that 3 or 4 pairs? I think that's
That's
3,
three.
actually.
Three.
That's 3. All right. Hmm. Man, that's a tough ass question, yo. I did a pair of loafers for my older brother that he then gave back to me because they didn't fit. I think I could have done a way better job in terms of the painting and like the the top coat, the finishing coat and stuff. But I love that style. That was like the first time I went away from sneakers. So that would be my fourth, and then um oh whoa, I can't believe I forgot these. My Tyler the Creator Air Forces. I did some Call Me If You Get Lost ones, like with the multicolored stars. Those are definitely at the top, actually. I think they're so tight.
Nice. Most of them I've seen. Obviously, I haven't seen the one that you didn't put out,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, most of them I've seen. Um, I did like the Kobe's as well. Those are pretty dope in that space.
Thank
Not
you.
gonna lie, for sure.
Appreciate that. Do you have a top 3 or a top 5 of yours?
Um, man, there's one that's not I haven't even done yet because it's a remake. That will
Okay.
end up being definitely being one of them. So I made a pair of Vans. It was probably one of the first pair of custom shoes that I ever made, and they were some Vans, and they were from Houston Oilers of NFL team
Mm-hmm.
here that doesn't exist anymore. The franchise got bought and moved to a different state and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But I have some Jordan 1 highs, and they're blue, well, they're navy and then the light blue. I want to
Okay.
take those and redo that shoe. So once those are
Okay.
done, those are probably going to be definitely up there as one of my number one.
Fire.
These ones right here would be one of them.
I've been looking at
So
those the whole time. I
so
really
they're
messed with the color combo.
they're a Grinch pair that I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I started taking so like it's
Oh,
the
that's
Grinch
tight.
heads on the tongue that I
Yes.
sewed on the tongue, and
I rock
then
with
the
that.
color of Grinch, and then it has
On the
him on
back
the
here.
back,
Mm-hmm. Fire.
and I moved like the tongue tab, and like all those different things. So
That's dope.
this is definitely one.
Mm-hmm.
That one is like my first version of or attempt at an off white, but taking a Jordan 1 and like kind of flipping it. So that one, I have another pair of Jordan 1s that I did for an auction for a college, and
Oh,
they got
sick.
auctioned off for $1,000. So that would definitely be
Whoa.
one. Two,
That's
um,
that's so tight.
that's four, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's four. Um, hmm, what would be five? I have a pair Jurassic Park. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the movie, but it's a
Uh-huh.
dinosaur movie. I did a pair for a friend's in for his kids, and they have the Jurassic Park logo and stuff on the side, and like the blood dripping off the top, and like they're I don't know if you've done little shoes yet, but
I've been meaning
as
to, but
it's so much work on this little bitty canvas, but they came out so dope. Uh, that's one thing people are like, oh, the shoe's smaller, so it should be cheaper. I'm like, nah, actually, it should be more because it's more work.
Yep.
It's just like
Yep.
giving a little kid a haircut. Like they fidget and move all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes,
it's more
exactly
work,
that.
so it should actually cost more. But I would probably throw those in there. Those ones were pretty cool. I probably feel like I'm leaving something out, but those
That's
would
the
be some of
thing.
the ones for sure.
You get to a point and it's like you definitely end up missing some out. So,
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty
but
sure I'm
that
gonna
just
go
means that you
back
have
and look.
so many that you need to, that you should be proud of, you know? So that's dope.
Yeah, and I have so many more like in my mind that I want to do and complete, or I have like 3 pairs that I'm working on right now. But there's so many that I want to do. Like I want to push this theme a little bit more with like putting the dolls' heads on them and stuff. So
Yes.
youngest son used to have a pair of Mario Brother slippers,
Oh yeah.
and the front, you when you press it, it played the little Mario music.
That's
So
so sick.
we
That's
can't
so
fit them
sick.
anymore, but I have another pair of
You
Vans and I have those shoes. So I'm gonna combine the two, and then once I'm done, you'll be able to play the music from the tongue and like you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that.
money. That's good.
So I want to mess around with some of that stuff a little bit more, but
Hmm.
just you know, like we talked about earlier, finding ways to grow and continue to move
That's it.
forward in what I'm doing and how to get better. So, um, speaking of that, what would be one tip that you feel like somebody could take away from this conversation that would potentially help them get better, or something for them to explore, or what even
Um,
you're exploring to get better?
if I had one tip to give people to get better in this, it would be start with it sounds silly almost, but like start with what you enjoy. Me personally, when I started in COVID, I know the big trends were like Louis Vuitton or Gucci airbrush styles on an Air Force. It's like they look cool to some people. I personally wasn't like that's not what I was trying to do or like trying to wear or anything. So I stayed away from it. If I jumped on it early, maybe it might have given me like a few more thousand views or higher sub count or something. But I think if you align yourself more with what you're creating, whether that's videos or the shoes themselves, you you get more of an idea of your personality. So anytime I see people, like anytime someone like compliments my shoes, whether it's a friend or like a stranger or something, straight away there was like those shoes are like bright, like they're loud. It's not like low key, but that's just because that's who I am. I don't I like the idea of standing out. So um I would definitely say stay true to your tastes and try and keep it in line with what you enjoy
Definitely, definitely be yourself. Everybody else is already taken.
every time.
Yeah, man, I agree. So thank you for being on the podcast. Where can people find you at? Where could they follow you at?
Thank you for having me. First of all, so you can follow my Instagram is at underscore Claudidus, Claudidus. Follow my YouTube. It's the same thing at Claudidus, Claudidus. I got new videos coming soon. Of course, I'm going to try and get back on top of the grind this year. And a little plug here also, my clothing brand. I got new stuff coming this summer, Sauce Pot. So find that on Instagram at Sauce Pot Clothing, like as in a pot of sauce. So yeah.
Dope. I love it. There we have it, folks. Another episode of the Lace My Podcast. Claude, thank you again for being on the pod. I greatly appreciate it. If you made it this far and you haven't done so already, please subscribe, tell a friend, share, like, comment, all of the above. Until next time, remember, fear is fake, creating is problem solving. Peace.
Whoa. Listen, it takes wisdom to grab these sneakers and spin them. Cut a couple of linen and match them up with the denim. Call Davidito, he'll cook it up like the kilo and have your Air Ones appropriate with the stilo. He's no Lilo, but he's mean with the stick.